So I'm curious, what was your very first reaction when Jim pitched your return in this movie to you? Did you ever see that coming, or was it completely out of left field?
It was kind of out of left field. It was because, I knew I died. He was so big and bad in the first one, and the death seemed so definitive. It seemed to me that it was just thrilling to the idea of him being reconstituted and coming back and developing too, because there'd be no point in bringing him back if he was the same thing, But regrouping in hell, as we say, and bringing and coming and trying it again.
So in the movie, we get to see OG Quaritch leave that message for his Recom self, but I was curious if you ever spoke to Jim about what it was like when OG Quaritch was even asked to do that to begin with, because he would essentially be agreeing to becoming the thing that he despised most. So did you ever figure out what his reaction might have been to that?
I don't think first of all, he does it as, it's all a hypothetical to him. This is an exercise to him. It's like Parker Selfridge said, oh yeah, we got to do this thing. You got to make this thing. And I'm going, what? What's the point? It's a waste of my time. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get the... No. You got to do this, Miles, because it's company policy, all right? I mean, read your contract, So, all right, fine, we'll do it, All right, I'll do it. And I do it, and I kind of... And like anything, when he does it, he kind of gets into it for a minute. But he doesn't... He's not considering the implications. The whole thing is, so if this happens, and it ain't gonna happen, But, of course, it's prophetic, isn't it?
Until it does, and it makes for a very interesting sequel for that character.
Yeah.
So when you're playing the Recom version of him, what is something that you wanted to retain from the original Quaritch to make sure that we understood that there's a deep connection there, but also what is something you wanted to do to make us believe that, yes, they are the same people, but he's also not. He's his own kind of being, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not something that you plan so much. Hopefully, it organically emerges from what you're doing, from the script, from the new work. But of course, look, his sense of mission, his sort of just his relentless pursuit of whatever agenda it is that he has at any time. I think that remains completely intact with Quaritch, But I think but obviously there are changes, and those changes are somewhat mysterious because what it is, it's the DNA, it's the way of water has kind of entered into him as well, and those are, so there are things happening to him that he can't account for and he's not really used to. This is a guy who lived his life in straight lines. Those lines are now getting real sinewy.
Okay, so here's my follow-up to that. Do you think that Recom Quaritch is redeemable? Does he have a chance of potentially learning lessons and becoming a better person, Avatar, going forward?
I think one should always remain open to the possibilities. Who can say? I mean, this is a mysterious world. AWOL works in strange ways, and will he nil he is part of that world now. What he has learned is that he cannot shape that world according to his desires, the way he wants to do things. He needs to adapt to it. And so I think under those circumstances, anything is possible. Do I personally think that he's redeemable? Yeah. Sure. Will he be redeemed? Can't say.
Okay, so the next question I have to ask to that, though, is OG Quaritch redeemable? If he had survived, would you have had the same faith in him, or is it a different situation?
It's a different situation. It's a tough question, but I mean, the OG Colonel, he had cauterized away so much of his emotion and feeling. He was in a tough spot, just spiritually, it seems to me, at that point. I believe
it. This is how I interpreted it. I felt it that way. I want a whole Bible on how the whole Recom works and the percentage of someone that's
believe
left.
me, I'm sure that it will appear in the fan,
eventually,
in
yes.
fandom. They'll do the whole thing,